the truth.
I'm Jim Price, a Jim Price Show Daily Update. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. The government told me what to say next. It's May 15th. It's a Friday, 2026. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. Yes, it is Friday. Sorry about yesterday. So sorry. So sorry about yesterday. Yesterday was not my fault. A local area Cox internet provider has overhead lines, and this line that they have going down my street has been supposed to have been replaced like 10 years before I moved in, and that's been like almost 14 years ago. So they've been limping this little line across here because they were going to expand 127th with the sidewalk and the median and the whole thing and make it all nice and pretty. But they haven't done that yet, and so Cox has been waiting to put the new line on the new poles. Well, anyway, we had a high wind day yesterday, and like we have them every day here, but it was like 30-some mile-an-hour winds yesterday. So did not have internet. In fact, even my phone just would not even really pull together much of a signal. This call is for the show, guys, so we want to make sure and take this. The Jim Price Show.
Hi there, this is Allie Triolo with the RNC.
Yes, Allie, good to see you or hear from you. Thank you so much for being here. Allie, do you have a...
Thank you so much for having me.
Definitely. Do you have a social media or a website we can find you on?
Well, I have two that I would like to plug. Number one, I would love people to follow RNC Vote Protect. That is our election integrity Twitter account or X account. It showcases and highlights everything we're up to in the EI space, and then mine is just at Allie Triolo.
Very good, Allie Triolo. Now, that's on all like Twitter and all those other ones out there?
Yep.
Okay, well, very good. So you had something on your mind. You calling in today. What's going on up there in D.C.?
Oh, I don't know if you have heard, but we have a lot of election integrity wins coming down the pipeline. Obviously, our most recent was the RNC successfully leading the charge to stop Virginia Democrats from gerrymandering the state. So that's a great win. We also saw a major win coming out of the Supreme Court with the Louisiana versus Calais decision, which is going to stop Democrats from gerrymandering people by race nationwide. So I'm here to talk to you about all of these wins as we prepare for the midterm.
Absolutely. And that's wonderful that we are not going to do gerrymandering based on racists. I don't understand how we even didn't call that out when it started. Like, we're doing it because of race. And I don't understand why that was ever okay. It's kind of like saying we're going back to segregated dorms in colleges because we don't want whites messing with the blacks. I don't understand. Why was this? Why didn't we not get this in the beginning? That was the one I never understood in Louisiana. How did that get through?
You know, something that is a positive is we have seen Democrats really pushing the boundaries for so many decades. And gerrymandering has been a Democrat issue. And finally, they just pushed it too far. And we were thrilled to see the Supreme Court uphold the Voting Rights Act, and that voters cannot be segregated by race. Something I love to talk about is that all of these districts, they're intended to have someone who represents their values in Congress. And when you have districts drawn through 18 communities, obviously there's no way you're going to be able to fairly represent those people's values in Washington. So, of course, we are hearkening back to common sense, but more importantly, we are restoring law and order nationwide. And this is a great thing for all voters.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's wonderful that we're actually just getting back to it. Now, when the Virginia Supreme Court came in, wasn't a lot of this stuff with the Supreme Court actions, a lot of this was very voluntary on their part because they saw the overreach? Isn't this very unique in an idea that they're like coming out of their closet like, hey, don't be doing that over there? And that's something we're seeing with the Supreme Court, not only at the federal level, but at the state level as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. From the way this process even started with the way the referendum was enacted, that was illegal. And so back in October, when this first came to be, that's when the RNC first got involved. And obviously, we are thrilled that we have continued to hold these Democrats accountable to the point that even their own Supreme Court knew this couldn't pass muster.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I was like, when that happened, I was like, thank you. Like you did it right. That was amazing. Now, isn't there some other? There was a Texas issue which we end up having to go again to the Supreme Court. But was there other states that were chugging down this line and going in a direction, but they've all kind of pulled back? Were there states doing this that really didn't get called out for their bad behavior?
I mean, many states we're seeing they are pulling back from gerrymandering by race because finally this has been decided by the court. So even though the case within the court was about Louisiana, of course, this sets the precedent that now all other states have the opportunity and, of course, have to legally fall in line with this ruling, which means they can no longer have districts that are segregated by race. And I think this points to the larger issue that our nation continues to face, which is election integrity. We know that that is the backbone when it comes to secure elections. And as we get closer to the midterms, there is no better time than now to make sure our districts are properly drawn and our ballot box is secure.
Yeah. I've noticed there's been a lot of conversations going back to the 2020 election. And I'm a big voter integrity advocate. I did the forensic audit for the state of Kansas. There was a whole thing we did back in 2020. When you're seeing the 2020 stuff, it keeps echoing back to that date. Are we seeing some movement either in the courts or in legislation or the court of public opinion that we're going to go back and revisit some of that 2020 stuff?
Yeah, I mean, here's what I want to tell you. Obviously, the fact that there was ever even any doubt regarding whether our elections are secure, that's a problem. Every single American that votes in our elections needs to know that when they go to bed on election night, the results that are going to be coming forward that evening through the following day, that those can be trusted. So that is why the RNC is working so hard. That is why we have built out a full-time, year-round election integrity division full of experienced litigators, investing millions of dollars into a very robust ground game because we know that we don't want to see fraud in elections or any discrepancies like we saw in years prior. So I think for us, we need to continue to learn from what happened. And obviously, President Trump has made the directive that he wants to see our elections secure. He signed 2 executive orders. And then for us at the Republican Party, we're doing our part to work in lockstep with him to keep elections secure.
So if I wanted to get involved in some of this, either at the local level, at the precinct level, is there a place on the RNC website that I can find, or is there a place I can go to be able to be a part of helping to keep that integrity robust?
Absolutely. You can go to our main website, GOP.com, and that's on the homepage. But if you really want to get into the nuts and bolts of how to become a poll worker or an observer or really anything to assist us as boots on the ground during the midterms, you can go to protectthevote.com.
That's great. protectthevote.com. Now, is there any particular states that we might want to be calling or looking at, or if we have friends in that state that we really need to make them aware of something that's going on or anything coming up recently or in the near future?
Sure. So some big news that just came out. We did a lot of announcing. We have invested 7 figures into our first round of boots on the ground for 17 target states. So from one end of the country to the other, we have a big presence there. And then this is only round 1 of our initial investment. We'll be also putting more staff in future states as we get closer to the midterms. But really for me, we want to see everyone in every state in America partake in protecting the ballot box. So I wouldn't say necessarily, obviously, we know that there are battleground states like North Carolina, Georgia, et cetera, but really this is important everywhere because when it comes to Election Day, we need equal representation. We need Republicans there serving as poll workers. observers, and making sure that if there's anything going amiss, we have eyes and ears on the ground to let us know so we can make sure that our elections are fair and secure.
Absolutely. Is RNC got or do you have an opinion on kind of how the governor race in California is going with seems to be some rumors going around that the at-large primary in the governor's race that may end up putting 2 Republicans on the ticket. Do you guys have a feel for that out there in California?
You know, it's funny you're bringing this up. I don't know if you knew this, but I am born and raised in California. I'm the 5th generation Californian. I obviously don't live there now. I live in D.C., but I previously worked for Congressman Vince Fong, a conservative congressman from the Central Valley of California, and did his communications. So I am very plugged in to the political scene there.
Right.
And, you know, it is interesting. President Trump has endorsed Steve Hilton, but I think California is in such a disarray under Gavin Newsom's leadership. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally think there is no better time than now to hopefully see a Republican governor. My grandfather was a Superior Court judge in California appointed by Ronald Reagan. And obviously he did a great job running our state and then, of course, running our country. But something else I want to point out that's very interesting to watch in California is actually the Los Angeles mayor's race.
Oh, yes.
Spencer Pratt has really taken the country by storm with the way he's just speaking to the everyday American, speaking to the problems that have been inflicted by Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass of wildfires. And I think this is also harkening back to why President Trump has been such a successful president. President Trump says what everyone is thinking, and that is why he has been elected over and over and over again. And I think Spencer Pratt is doing the same thing and speaking some common sense into our state. You know, I know you were talking to me about, of course, the governor's race, which I would love to see a Republican lead California, but I also find what Spencer Pratt is doing interesting to watch.
Oh, absolutely. What a fantastic gentleman to jump into all that. And he has, here's, I think, what really brings different candidates out to people because they become authentic. And what Spencer has done is because he's coming from the heart. He's like, hey, my house, this is mine. This is, you know, and this is my city. This is where I live. And so it's a little different than someone giving you the, I'm going to solve the homeless problem. He's like, no, I live here. I have to fix where I live, not pontificating about politics. And I like the authenticity there. I think that's where President Trump comes in and really hits people because he is authentic, and a lot of people don't like honesty or the authentic type person, and I think that's what Spencer's doing in L.A. as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I worked in California for many years in communications, and I, have crossed paths with some of these people that are running for governor, and I really hope California wakes up because, in my opinion, it is the most beautiful state, but it's been run into the ground. It has become the worst state to live when it comes to affordability. I recently went home to visit my parents. I flew into the San Francisco airport, drove through San Jose, the Bay Area. Yep. There was boarded up businesses. It looked desolate. The roads were cracked. I was actually shocked. It felt like in some ways, sadly, I was going to a third world country and also just wasn't the community that I remember. So California needs saving, and I pray that we can, save it. We need to. I mean, it produces so much energy, the number one ag producing state. I mean, I could go on and on. It's my home, but it's not somewhere I want to live under this leadership. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. Well, and this is what I don't understand is they all see it, but it seems like membership to a club is more important than the ability to have liberty to think of anything you want and the freedom of the body to move as you will. It's really weird. I almost feels like they want to be captors. And that kind of disturbs me in a lot of ways. I see the other side. They're like, no, we want more government. We want more taxes. We want more intrusion. I'm like, who thinks of that way? I don't get up in the morning that way, but I do appreciate your focus on California and all the things that can be beneficial. I've done a lot of conferences out there, spoke a lot out there. And the sad part of it is it's not what it used to be 20, 30 years ago when I was there, when I was a young man. I thought it was an amazing place, and now I'm afraid I'm not to say I'm afraid to go there. I just don't want to go there. And that's a sad state.
and it goes by our phrase for California is the golden state. We used to be the pinnacle of excellence, and sadly no longer. Speaking of Democrats and their hypocrisy, obviously, we're talking today about election integrity because all the RNC and Republicans in Congress are focused on is securing our elections. And yet Democrats in the Senate continue to vote against the Save America Act. Well, recently, within the past couple of weeks, Chuck Schumer came out and said that he is going to be launching, in partnership with all Senate Democrats, an election integrity fraud task force. Yet they continue to vote against the Save America Act. I mean, make it make sense. We can't make it make sense.
Yeah, the math doesn't math, right? It just doesn't add up. So this has been really great to have you on here. Is there any little things that you'd want to give us before we get you out of here? I know we're a little short on time, unless you want to go longer. Either way, if you have a little time, but give us something that's really on your heart about what's going on, and maybe even something where it's a personal thing for you, because everybody likes those stories where we get involved with each other.
Sure. Well, I'm a younger person, and for many years I was worried just going to college and being a Californian to share my political views. And I just want to tell people this. There is no greater time to be a Republican, to vote Republican. President Trump and Republicans are changing the world. They are stopping terrorism. They're passing the largest tax cuts in American history. And they're even thinking down the line by establishing generational wealth for newborn children through the Trump account. So I just want to encourage people that it is critical. We can't give up. We can't also let this redistricting effort make us feel comfortable. We need to go out. We need to vote in these midterm elections. We need to vote Republican. That is the bottom line. Yeah. And it's just an honor to speak with you today. And if anybody wants to know about our 140 active cases we have going on around the nation to secure our elections, they can go to GOP.com or Protective Vote. And I'm always happy to join you and speak more on what we're doing.
Absolutely. Well, and it's been great to hear from you. And it's there's so much about this stuff that we almost sometimes our life gets too busy, and I feel like that's the treadmill we're all on. Is life is getting us too busy, and then we don't realize that we were supposed to vote yesterday. I'll get involved tomorrow. Well, next time I'll do this. The time is now, and this midterm, we don't want to see what we had last time in our midterms. Where we really saw a wave that hurt us. So thank you so much for your time. And one more time, how can we find you?
People can follow RNC Vote Protect on Twitter for all of our election integrity updates. And then my name is Ali Triolo. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Bye.
All right, guys. Well, that was that was an interview with the RNC, and this is important because this is their media, right? So this is what the RNC is directly bringing out to the people. There's connections like I have with that, and there's some other ones I have, but I don't always bring them out. It just depends on what's going on in the news. There are times I've had people come on that are very popular. They're like, hey, they want to talk about this. I'm like, I can't do it. It's not where I want to be right now. This voter integrity stuff and the things that we're seeing, I really want you guys to understand there is a lot of movement on this. And I have been, I tell you, I did not understand what was going on in 2020. And I thought, okay, wait, in November, I'm like, okay, wait, hold on. We still haven't voted. All the votes aren't counted. We're still trying to figure it out. We're still got contradicting news on this and that. So everything was still jumbled up. Remember, it took a long time to really, they called the presidency, but then the votes weren't in. And then they couldn't certify. Remember, there was even an extension to the certification. So then I felt like, okay, wait, what's going on here? But then we all got educated about January 6th, right? We all got educated, right? About January 6th, J6ers, right? So now all of a sudden it's imprinted in our brain like 9/11 that this is important to think about. But when you think about the J6ers now, by the way, we know now, and like I said, then in 2021, I said there were paid actors in there. I have photographs. I published an article in Gateway Pundit talking about the paid actors at January 6th. Now, oh no, nobody's talking about this now, but our FBI and other three-letter agencies that shall not be named because of privacy, 600 paid actors or agitators that were told to amplify or push the people into the building. Not my words, so don't go like, oh, Jimmy, you could have made that extra. No, I didn't. That is in their own documents. And I believe that because I saw the paid actors. I saw what they look like. I know the difference, guys. There's too many times I think we miss that we just assume because we see it, it is what it is. And this goes back to the sleight of hand, the magic, the movie of things, right? And maybe because I was a kid who liked seeing the tire tracks in the dirt as the cowboys and Indians were chasing each other. I like to see the tire marks in the dirt. I like to see the little things here where when they cut away and they come back, the hair's different or the clothes are different or the water spot on the shirt is different. And I enjoy that. Maybe that's why when I look at these people doing this stuff, I'm just like, But I don't think we always give ourselves enough credit. Because there's things that we see, but then we don't want to trust ourselves. Hey, Luther Bradley, good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. Terrence William, good to see you, man. Brenda's here. We got Melanie Hackerman Johnson. Hackerman? Huh. I don't know. That's a new one. Melanie Hackerman Johnson, welcome. I am glad you're here. You are the second Melanie that I know ever in my life. So, there's that. Anyway, so this whole thing with voter integrity stuff, I did do a full forensic audit for the state of Kansas. I got 3,000 signed, notarized affidavits to actually go in and force the Senate to do a forensic audit, which they quote-unquote said they did by counting the ballots and saying, yes, we have 4,000 ballots. It says there are 4,000. That's how many ballots we have. That's what they said that their forensic accounting was for ballot forensic checking. This is like, and this is where the disingenuousness of that, is that a word? Disingenuousness? Being that disingenuous is just slap to the face. It's not even healthy. It's not cool. It's not warranted. So people bothered to sign their name and have it notarized and then have it file stamped for you guys to go and do your job. And then you go, oh, okay, so how many copper tubes do I have in my hand? 1. Okay. How many copper tubes do you have in your hand? 1. Total of 1. So you had 1 when you counted, right? Yes, there's 1. And then you had 1 when you counted. Yes, there's 1. Are we that stupid? Do we just do this? Is this like, again, you really have to know that you're doing that. That's not an accidental behavior, is it? Or do I live in an alternate universe where I'm just a little bit different than everybody else, thinking that doesn't accidentally happen? That's purposeful behavior? Right? It seems really purposeful, right? Am I don't know. You guys gotta do it. Brenda says, I agree with you. It's gonna be a red wave. Oh, Luther. Okay. Yeah, it says looser. I don't know, like L-U-C-E-C-U. I'm like, what? Anyway, I was having to do a little translating there. When I'm on live, it's really get a lot of pressure right here. I just feel sweaty and panicked and everything. I didn't know what to do. Baby Jesus. No, anyway, so the voter integrity stuff is really important, but we don't think it's important. We think it's not something we can do. There's nothing we can do about it. Well, again, here's the thing. Let me give you something about this whole I can't do anything about it. I don't know. I'm too old, or I'm too tall, or I'm too short, or I'm too this, or I'm too that. Pay attention to it. Do you know that paying attention to the Jim Price Show creates energy behind the Jim Price Show by you watching it? That's why they give dollar values to views, because they know that energy has value. The views have value. Now, they make it a curve that works out for them, but it's all about energy. It's all about value, just like we talked about with the gentleman on Wednesday, the secure party credit stuff. Remember the cltrustsolutions.com? That your soul, this transaction of you, they're over here, blink, 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 blink. They're just pulling the coins off of you. You're the old jackpot machine that they're running their entire world off of. And they're using that energy to field into an energy that it is even on this plane. You are the battery for somebody else's space car. You're just the battery, this entire existence. If you want to use a metaphor, I'm trying to give it to you. I'm trying to get you there in your mind's eye to understand that what we're doing with so much of this, when we're giving over authority, when we're giving over our power, when we're giving over our energy to these people, they are taking that and they are using it for their benefit. That's their adrenochrome. That's their fountain of youth, is your fear, is your negativity, is your hate. It's your not letting go of things that hurt you. And so the longer that you hurt, the more that they are satisfied, the more that they are fed, the more they have to keep them young. So if you don't plug in, well, no wonder they get pissed at you. No wonder they come after you. No wonder they make you fall back and have 7 fractures, right? Maybe there's something to this. Maybe a hole in your lung. Maybe 6 days in the ICU. Maybe that's what happens for real. Because they don't like it when you don't make their batteries full, when you don't keep their energy full, when you don't keep their agenda full. So when they catch you slipping, they catch you being selfish, they catch you being inward and not outward, selfless, not so damn selfish, the world will be a far, far better place. Does this ring a bell? See, guys, this whole thing about voting, this whole thing about laws, this whole thing about control, this whole thing about surveillance, they're watching you to suck the energy off of you. Just like if you observe something that's negative, the light will be shed on that negativity and it will be bleached out. It will be moved along. But if you never pay attention to it, you never look at it, it will fester and it will kill you. If you do not express your feelings, if you don't express your emotions, those emotions will sit inside of you and they will create the cancers that kill you. And I am not making that up. I'm not metaphoring that. That's the truth. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what I'm talking about. I only play one on television, so don't take anything I say seriously. It's all for fun. Thanks, YouTube. But we don't realize that if we don't focus on something, nothing will ever happen. So don't focus on the phone. Find something in the phone that makes you go focus on something that needs to move. Focus on moving that mustard seed with your mind. Focus your energy on moving that so that you can now be a part of something that's in motion. Maybe it just needed that little bit of you plugged into that instead of their energy, giving them the power. The Monsters Inc., you know, the whole scare thing, the scare university, scaring kids for energy, only to find out that joy was the real lesson, the real power, the real energy. So if you're living in joy, you're living in all these other things, and you're putting a focus on other things, you're putting focus into the Jim Price show, you're putting focus into the voter integrity, you're putting focus into whatever it is. It's not them. And you win, and they lose. But see, the problem is that you keep going back to that fear, you keep going back to that programming, you keep trying to brush your teeth with the same hand every day, talking about change, how you've changed. You live life with purpose, but you've never brushed your hand with your opposite hand. You never brushed your teeth. By the way, you brush your gums, not your teeth. That's another thing we say so backwards. You're brushing your gums, not your teeth. Please listen to me on that. But you brush your gums with your left hand tomorrow. If you're left-handed, do it with your right. Jeez. But try to figure that out. See, the thing is, our body is ambidextrous, so we don't think it is. Some of us are a little better at it. I am very ambidextrous. I can sit here and write you a letter with my left hand, and it's very legible. Legible, right. But the problem is that we're not even trying. When's the last time you walked backwards? When's the last time you put brain power into walking? When's the last time you walked sideways, crossing your feet over left and right? Both ways. When's the last time you walked backwards up a set of stairs, walked down a set of stairs backwards? See, I'm asking you to live life with purpose here. I'm asking you to start putting energy into things. I'm trying to put focus into something, but you don't even know how to walk backwards. So are we living life the way we really think we should? Are we really living purposefully because we want to do something? We want to see things better. So I'm going to put energy, I'm going to put my focus. Now, by the way, you don't have to like physically do anything to put your energy into it by focusing on it. By you getting involved, by you reading the newsletters, by you coming on the show, talking about things. That's how you get involved. And now suddenly this energy's here. Now the popcorn's popping, right? Things are bubbling. The pop's boiling, right? Oh, it's going to bubble over. It might create a whole movement because your energy adds to other energy. By the way, you don't understand how energy works. If you know what a pulling horse or a Clydesdale or some of these pulling mules they talk about the strength of one mule. But they say that if they pair it with another one of the opposite sex, that it will 3 times, it doesn't just double. It doesn't go from 2,000 to 4,000 pulling strength. It goes 3 times. It's like this crazy number. It's like 9,000 pounds, not 4,000 pounds. But then if you actually take and you find 2 that are the same sex, 2 male, well, then it's like 4 or 5 times. But do you know if you actually put 2 people that are actually brother and sister together, if you put them together, it's like 10 times because of the familiarity of the heartbeat, because of where they came from. They're so close to each other. But if we can multiply each other's energy, it says in the Bible, it says if we use Bible as the reference, right? We can use different books, different references. It says if 2 or more are there, I am there with them. And hey, I stand at the door and knock. You open the door, I'll come in and sup with you. These are things that we don't pay attention to. But when COVID came along and they said, get away from each other, that was telling you the power of the people coming together was what they feared. And if they could separate you, they could control you. And they taught you a lesson, but did you learn? So when you bring your energy together, now it's 3 times. And then when another person comes in, it's like 12 times. And when a 4th person and 5th person, you guys don't understand. When you're at a football stadium and you are cheering your team on, you are physically moving your team down the field. It is a true physical fact. It's not spiritual. That's not even spiritual. They know this stuff. They've done the test. They know. Why do you think there's certain creativity to certain things they do about putting you in certain spheres of things? Capturing that energy. It's not something new. So when you think about if you want to be part of voter integrity, now see, I went down an entire spiritual way, financial, the political, all that. Just to get you back here, just to say, listen, if you want to do a voter integrity, you want to be a part of, you say, hey, Jim, let's get our own voter integrity thing going. Hey, plug me in with Sheriff Mack, or hey, Jim, get me over here to the pillow guy. Hey, I'll do it. I know all those guys. But when you focus your energy, let's say on the Jim Price Show, when you say, hey, Jim, let's talk about this. Hey, Jim, I heard about this. Can you give us this? When you're bringing me information or you're asking about me to educate you more on a subject and we go deeper into it, we're getting better and we're amplifying so our power is greater. And so if we're not plugging into their fear machine and we're not plugging into that energy that's sucking us down, that's making us less than what we really are, and we're plugging into each other and amplifying each other, then what do we have to fear? Who are we giving our authority to but our Creator and who we are inside, right? When we look at say, well, our authenticity is in here, inside of us. Oh, but Jim, you said voter integrity. Now you're talking about inside of you and your Creator. Yeah. Because you got to put energy towards something. You got to get involved. You got to get out there. You got to be part of it. And maybe if you open up and you be more you, people get to know the real you. You don't have to worry about the masks, the social pressures, all the things that you think you need to obey, all the inferred rules and regulations and guidelines that we all think exist. Like each state does not require you to sit there at a red light until it turns green. If you don't even know your own state law, don't talk to me about how you live life on purpose. Most states say you're to come to a complete stop at a red light. You're to then proceed with caution after the intersection is clear. You're not required to stay there. It is a light that can be green, meaning you don't have to stop. It's a stop sign that changes color. But again, what do I know, right? But I'm sitting here giving you these little things, but if you want to be involved, well, then that might mean you want to start looking at it. Then you got to start reading it, and then you're going to accidentally want to do something, and you're going to want to learn about the laws. You're going to want to learn how these people are not even paying attention to the laws and about oaths of office and what a bond is and how important that is according to you and your government and your representative government, your republic, and what CL Solutions, Trust Solutions was talking about. See, that ties back in again. See, all this stuff I talk about, guys, I can literally stitch it back to each other. And that's why I talk about things I do, because I want you guys to understand that you can't just be singular. Because you got to get your health right. You got to get your mind in the right way, right? You got to get your spirit going in the right direction. You got to make sure you're not holding on to old contracts and old habits that are pulling you back, letting go of the past and knowing that the future is what you want it to be. You're the observer. So I want to see you guys, as you guys amplify, I get amplified. As I get amplified, you guys get amplified. As we all get amplified, suddenly we don't have to think about whether we have to worry about election integrity because we got it. Because, by the way, they do two Powerballs every single week with hundreds, it's hundreds of millions worth of tickets sold twice a week, so like 400 million or 500 million, whatever it is. I had the numbers at one time. And then they know flawlessly within seconds who the person was, what card or cash they used. They have the film clipped already. They already know the images. They've got a facial recognition on they've had for decades. They already know where the guy lives, who his social security, and who his wife and extended family is. Well, they know that within minutes. Not even like, it's barely even minutes, almost seconds. But yet we cannot get our elections right. We do lotteries twice a week, year round. And there's all these other mini lotteries without flaw, right? Without a hiccup. But every 4 years, we can't get our shit straight. Okay. All right. You convinced me, buddy. You got me. Whew. Boy, elections are hard. Boy, elections. Boy, they're so hard. About 150 million people vote on one day. But you can count hundreds of millions and know exactly how many hundreds of millions of separate lottery tickets twice a week and know who the person is within seconds of the last number being drawn, which, by the way, is drawn 3 minutes prior to it actually being published. Did you guys know that? That there is no such thing as a live lottery ball. It's always film delayed by it's like 3 minutes or 6 minutes. There's a significant amount of time for error. They call error. That's what they call it. If they have a ball malfunction, anyway. So let's not talk about all that, right? Jeez. But they do supposedly twice a week flawlessly for decades now. But every 4 years we can't get around to an election that's secure. But you guys trust them with the, $2 billion lottery? Nobody was questioning the accounting on that, were they? Nobody's questioning the winner on that, or nobody's out suing and for jurisdiction and whether or not the money was of this or whether it was the right color pen or they used the pencil on the counter or they had their own. Are anybody listening to me on this? Is this all like getting through? Yeah, so anyway. All right, guys. Well, a couple things. I will be going into my new year on Monday. So what we call the end of my 55th year is on Sunday. And so when you think about when they used to, I don't like this calling it the birthday, right? Because we count the end of the year. So I'm ending my 55th year. I'm now 55 on Sunday. But why don't we do this? I don't want to talk about that part. I want to talk about this part. How about we do this? How about we figure out that the new year is actually April 1st and we go back to a 13-month calendar? But how about when you go into a new year, we're going to call it Happy New Year. Brenda or Charlie or who else do we have out here? There was some others up here. Luther. I mean, how about we say Happy New Year? Happy New Year to you, Luther. I hope your new year is amazing. Go into the new year with God's speed I hope he always has your back. May you face challenges, but always with the right tools, right? Well, how come we don't talk about going into a new year? Happy New Year, Jim. Going into your new year. So Monday will be my Happy New Year day. That's my New Year day. My New Year's Eve or my birthday would be Sunday. And that is the end of my 55th year. I'm going into my new year. Can we find a way to celebrate it as a going into, but not celebrating the death of the 55th year? Does that make sense? I really want to think about the words we put out there and making sure we're doing positive stuff. But I'd rather say Happy New Year. I hope you have a new year. Your new year, congratulations to you and your new year. It's going to be a great year. Look forward to another 12 with you. We're going to see you on your next new year. I am looking forward to that as well. Because this is a fall forward effect, right? This is what we talk about is we're going to fall into it, fall forward. Does that make sense? I want to fall forward with positive information. I want to say, Happy New Year. Yes, I'm the double nickel. What, west side, what, east side, south side. I don't know, whatever the hell they do. No, it's double nickel. I never thought, guys, I'm still working on trying to figure out how to be a kid. I like being a kid. I like being really young at heart. I tell you what, man, give me a dirt bike or a BMX. I'll go get on it right now. Let's do it. I know that sounds crazy. We got a roller skating rink here in town that at 9 o'clock it's adult skate, which means you could buy liquor, which roller skating and being over 21 and drinking, okay, sure, why not? I mean, actually, it's really great. There's a lot of talented people, but man, I go out there and I'm like, this is just like when I was a kid. 6th grade, man. I remember 6th grade. I didn't go roller skating very often, maybe a dozen times. Not even that many, maybe 10, maybe not even that many. I'm making it sound great. It was probably 5, but anyway, I loved it though. But when I put I found a pair of skates in a storage unit I bought, and they were my size. They're speed skates, what we called speed skates, the old speed skates. This is a brilliant story. I was buying these storage units before Storage Wars was a thing. I really was. I promise you guys. I have storage stuff here. Gotta think, see where it's at. Hold on. I have something here from a storage unit. I swear to God I do. Anyway, so I was telling you about the storage unit. I wasn't going to tell you about the storage units. I bought a storage unit, and I was telling you what I found in the storage unit. What did I find in the storage unit? I totally brain farted because I started thinking about what it was out here. Oh, those Conocos. I think those are it. Anyway. I totally brain farted on that part. Can you guys catch me up where I was at? And let me look in real quick and see what it was that I had that was from the storage unit, too. I don't know. Maybe I don't have anything up here anymore. What was it that I was talking about? You guys got to help me out here. Come on, help me out in the comments. Maybe I don't have anything. Oh, I do. This right here. Roller skates. Oh, yeah, it was in a storage unit. That's what it was. Thank you. God dang it, Luther. Thank you so much. So anyway, before Storage Wars was a thing, I was buying storage units. A lot of it was just trash. That's mostly what's ever in a storage unit, guys. I don't know why. Like every one I bought, 90% garbage. Literally, there was times there was best bags of garbage that it was like, are you kidding me? Like this is just house garbage. So anyway, in one of the storage units, I found a pair of roller skates, but they were speed skates. So I'm 55, obviously. So we're going back into the 70s, late 70s and the early 80s, late 70s. And I always wanted the speed skates, one with the black with the low, no cuff, right? It was below the ankle and had the 2 white stripes on it, like they were Adidas, but they had the little bit wider trucks on them, wider wheels on them, and they were fast. Well, these are fast. And I've been out there. I haven't gone in a couple years, but I've gone, and I tell you what, man, it felt so good doing the crossover, going in the corner, doing the weave with your feet, just feeling it, getting back. And I'm right on the edge of falling on my ass. And, man, I tell you what, but that's being young, right? I mean, I want to go. I mean, my ribs are getting better. I mean, I do like this. It's me being tough. There is some stuff in here, but hey, I'm back in it. Like, if I'm going to go, someone says, let's do roller coasters, I'm on it. Let's go. I'll figure it out. I maybe only do like one, and then I'll be like, oh my God, I can't do that again. Hey, Curly May, good to see you. Canada, what's up? So anyway, so just the idea, guys, let's remember that we are what we think we are. And yeah, I'm 55. I'm like, whatever, bro. Let's do this. Let's go do whatever. Let's go on a float trip. I wanted to do a float trip this next weekend. I had plans, remember a couple months ago, started talking to you guys about doing a float trip over in Knoll, Missouri and doing that whole thing. And anyway, nobody ever really stepped up. So anyway, that's a thing, but doing young stuff, it's worth it. I think it's a big, big deal. So when you think you're young, you are young. There's a lot of science behind that. People have shown that people going back, like they took a group of men, 20 men, two different groups of men. There were 20 in one group, 20 in the other group. They left the one group in like the modern situation, and then they took the other group and put them back into what would have been their teenage years. So whatever news, whatever TV shows, sports, whatever magazines, newspapers, anything that was informational from whatever, if they were teenagers in the 40s or 50s, it was that era. And they were doing blood tests on it, and I think it was within 6 weeks or something, the group that was reading the young stuff, like when they were young kids, literally started getting off their medications. They were sleeping sound. They were getting up early. They were doing exercise. They were playing tennis. They were getting active. Their arthritis was going away. And it was because they put themselves, and the other group just continued with their diabetes, which is salt deficiency. Anyway. So it's amazing when you want to be old, you can be old. When you want to be young, you are young. And as a young kid, I worked very hard. I was 15 on my own. So yeah, I worked real hard to be the adult in the room at a young age. And so now maybe I'm doing a little Benjamin Button. I'm going to go back and relive some of those young ones. I don't know. I'm getting my health back in ways I've never understood. I don't remember being this healthy. I'm sitting at an amazing weight, doing great. And so yeah, maybe I am. Maybe I'm reversing all this because I am getting significantly better health-wise, mentally getting better, a lot of different stuff. I still have some skips in the memory like a lot of us, but I am going to work on that as well. There's exercises and there's things we can do nutritionally, just some little things. Like, by the way, if you don't know about creatine, if you are over the age of 40, especially women, you need to be taking at least 20 milligrams of creatine per day, according to studies that show that helps create the ATP in the brain, which is brain energy, which is the brain fog. Creatine is a natural substance. You can get it most anywhere. Do buy clean. Try to find it. Even though it says organic, don't trust that always. Do a little research into what creatine that is. But there's a lot of stuff we can do to make ourselves feel younger just with some simple mineralization. Creatine is an ATP brain health, and that's a big deal if you're having memory issues, dementia issues as well. But I will tell you, get your minerals right, guys. That's all I'm doing. Everything you see me doing with my weight and all that stuff is just mineralization. So anyway, what else do we got out here? So anyway, I want to think about things in a positive way that gets us thinking about, okay, let's do it in a positive way. What's the positive? Where can we go? So that's what I mean by let's go into the new year. So Sunday is the end of my 55th year, but the new year is Monday, right? So I'm going into my new year, the New Year's Eve, right? So I don't know. How do we, if we do it, is that, would I say that So with my 17th is my birthday, so that's New Year's Day. So the New Year's Eve is the 16th. So you celebrate on the 16th Saturday as New Year's Eve because your New Year's Day is your birthday. See, that's where we gotta work this out. I need some science in here. Some people doing, rah, 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 rah. Looks like Tina Peters is going to be released on January 1. There's been some changes there. That is awesome. That's great. So I don't know if you guys know who Tina Peters is, but she's a friend of mine who in Colorado, they went after her for duplicating the voter boxes because it was part of her job description is to keep a copy of what was in there, what happened in there during the election. That is part of recording. And they vilified her as saying it was stolen, that was impeding. It was weird. They really went as far and as hard as they could on that whole thing. So it looks like she's going to see some reprieve, and God bless that woman. She has been through enough, and my heart does go out to her exponentially and what she has been through. So I look forward to seeing her, and I'll reach out to her as soon as she's out. I'll text her, and we'll see what I can get her on the show. Sorry about that. I had this coffee, and then if I don't keep drinking the coffee, then my mouth kind of gets a little, yeah. All right, so what do we got here? They'll put them in the 50s, become young again. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Curly May. Yeah, the youth of the mind is really, I think that's really where it starts. There's so much to that, and I do believe that we have so much more to learn about what we think, right? So not only putting the right things in, but also thinking the right things. And there's some tools and some habits, some affirmation. When I say affirmations, like just saying certain things, like, hey, and just there's certain things you can just say to make sure that you're making, like, hey, I'm not involved in that. That's not who I am. Or, or just over explaining the situation to somebody so that that what you're doing is for real. Like, here's what I said. Here's what I'm doing. If I stepped over, what have I done something wrong? And that's a little bit of discernment on your own, too. So there's lots of different ways to do it. All right, guys, that's going to be about it for me. It's been great seeing you. Yes, my birthday is on Sunday, so thank you guys so much for all the well wishes already. I've received a couple of cards, and I have a Thursday night wellness class I teach here in Wichita. Or Wednesday night wellness class I teach here in Wichita, and I did get a half gallon of ice cream. So my first gift, I guess it was a half gallon of ice cream and a shaker of Celtic mineral salt. So it was great. Anyway, it was awesome. The class made a little cake, and it was wonderful that they did all that. So I'm very blessed that they were thinking of me in those ways. I had no clue. I was not thinking in that way. I'm like, hey, let's talk about these things, doing the health and wellness stuff. And then they brought out a 250s, 255s, 255s right there. So we did that, and really cool. It was chocolate cake with lavender frosting. Really neat stuff. When you meet new people, you get to learn new things. I've tasted a lot of things in my life because I met new people. I've gotten out of my shell and done other things. So anyway, it's been a great journey. So, all right, guys, remember the 10% we do for our neighbor, community, city, county, state, the federal government. The more you do for them, less have to do for you. Learn how to be selfless and not so damn selfish. The world will be a far, far better place. Remember, hold the line, hold fast, do not give up, do not give in. We'll win. I promise. I promise I can't keep, guys. You've always been the answer out there. Remember that Constitution? Well, that's your contract with your government. That limits the government, but never limits you. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Happy New Year to me on Sunday. So anyway, guys, interesting stuff out there. And George, hope everything comes together. And that test and everything. Thank you for following the show, and I appreciate everything you've done and stepping up the way you have. So George, I know who you know who you are, and I hope we get to make everything official real soon. But looking forward to it. All right, I'm Jim Price, the Jim Price Show Daily Update. You guys all be good to each other out there, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye-bye.